Everyone. Hello, we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, for those of you on the call, we're going to be recording the webinar today and will be sent over to you afterwards. I wanted to start by saying thank you all for attending today. Greatly appreciate it. You know, these webinars that we do, oftentimes it's a biased opinion. You know, it's with another software provider when we give our insights from the technology side. But we're very, very excited to have Will Staffen on the line. You know, with 13 locations, they've been with us since 2010. Xperience Fitness is one of our most valued clients. Will is the membership director over there, and he was graciously offered to go through this with us today. So we're going to grill Will on how he uses the system and sales process in general. And a big hello to Will. How are you doing today, sir?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the introduction, Marty. Appreciate that. Everything's great, going well. I'm excited to share some of our referral knowledge with you and some others from the industry. So I'm excited.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, you guys are particularly productive in the referral arena. So we're going to spend a lot of time on that and how we drive referrals in the fitness space, particularly by leveraging technology to do so. And like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be opening up the floor to questions. In fact, we'll probably be answering questions via the chat as we go along. So anything that comes up, anything you want to ask our resident expert, Will, or myself, feel free to chat it in, and we'll get to those as we go. So Will, I want to start with you, membership director for Xperience Fitness. Tell us a little bit about your role. What does it entail, and more importantly, tell us about the clubs.
Yeah, sure. So director of membership sales, that's fairly self-explanatory, but in charge of all new member acquisition for all 13 of our locations. Everything from getting a lead all the way through the sign-up onboarding process. Making sure that we are taking care of our members and onboarding them in the right way, so that way they stay and are happy with us. As far as everything that we have. As far as, with our clubs, everything, our model, for those of you who aren't familiar with Xperience Fitness, we are branded, if you will, a low-cost, high-volume model. We have a $9.95 membership option. We have, the majority of which we sell at a higher level, but our clubs are well equipped. Our average club is 35 to 40,000 square feet. Swimming pools, group exercise classes. So we're a low-cost, high-volume club with amenities, we like to call it. That gives us a ton of features, a ton of amenities to be able to provide and to be able to appeal to a lot of people. Which is one way that referrals have been so important to us in multiple different ways, by having initially a product that a lot of people would like at a price that everybody could afford. And as we got older in our markets, learning in order to keep our referral volume and our referral leads at the level where they were at, and converting at the level that we'd like to see them convert, learning a more educated way of being able to talk to someone who is a referral versus just the standard, hey, your friend told me to give you a call, and then also using Club OS with that to be able to track and see where we're getting our biggest impact, and have some really firm, solid optics on the work that we're putting in, so that way we can constantly see and measure the results that we're getting from our efforts.
That's great. That's great. Before we jump into more about the referrals specifically, you mentioned, a big focus on new member onboarding. I know that's extremely important with a club that's as amenity rich as Xperience Fitness, but in any club, they talk about onboarding in a successful first 30 days, 90 days. Different clubs treat it differently. But can you tell us a little bit about your onboarding process and what makes it so successful for new members?
Well, yeah, sure. The majority of our onboarding process, and to basically, I guess, summarize it as easily as possible, is it's about engagement. It's about getting them into the club. It's about having them actually participate and use the gym. The more times that happens, we know that, as you know, for those of you who are on the phone, we're all passionate about health and fitness, and we know if someone just shows up and puts forth effort, that they are going to leave feeling better, having more energy, and just in better spirits than when they came in. So we know that, we believe that. So our goal is to get them to the door. So we want to make sure that we remove any barriers that could possibly get in their way from doing that, such as fear of the unknown. Anytime that there's a void in communication or a void in someone's mind, someone's going to always assume the negative. So someone's excited, they join the gym, they don't necessarily get a thorough tour process. They don't get started on their membership the right way, and maybe they have concerns about, well, what do I do when I get there? Things like that. And that's where, a lot of personal training comes in. That's where a lot of our, what we call our Jumpstart program comes in. We're just like most clubs, they have an orientation. Obviously, Jason Christus, who runs our personal training, he's the me of personal training for our company. He has his particular spin that he puts on it that helps our members get onboarded and for us to be very lucrative in our personal training departments as well. But then also engaging them into group exercise classes. So as opposed to just, here's the schedule and go, actually getting them set up for their first class, introducing to instructors, and also around the referral process, creating a support system to where they can have a more familiar face at the gym. In the sense of, I don't know anybody who likes to go to a local bar or tavern to watch, let's say, the Packers or something like that, play or the Redskins or wherever you are, play a football game, and you're going there and you don't know anybody there. You typically want to go to the places where people, because that's where you're comfortable. So making sure that they can be comfortable by being around familiar faces is huge.
That's great. And on that reference, you use a regionally specific reference on the Packers. I don't know that I would want to go to a bar with a lot of Packers fans, no matter if I knew them or not. Just a little regionally specific humor here in Philadelphia. Go Eagles. Had to get that in there.
I wouldn't either, frankly, but I wasn't sure if we had too many Tampa Bay Buccaneer fans on the call.
Hey, you never know. That's the beauty of sports. I wanted to talk about one thing you mentioned there, which is engagement, which is a huge focus in the industry right now, keeping members engaged. You mentioned the PT and the Jumpstart programs and the Group X, and I think that's obviously a really, really big part of it, and clubs getting members using more of their amenities. But you touched on something that it starts, and I found that really interesting. It starts with the tour process. It starts with the actual sales process itself. Do you agree with that? Do you agree that the engagement that you actually have that member starts pre-sales, and those other things like the PT and the Jumpstart are only helped out by a positive sales process in the front end?
Yeah, I mean, and I know that there's a ton of people who have a ton of different opinions on this, that particular topic of engagement, onboarding. My opinion is, frankly, if you're not introduced to the club, if you're not given the right impression of the club, if you're not welcome to the club the right way, it's that first impression. It's that first real touch. And if you're brought in and you're made to feel like you are just like everybody else who's starting their journey, then you're going to be in a much better position to be set up for success. One of the things that cripples us in the industry a lot is we typically have a lot of people who we hire who like to work out. That's the nature of the beast. But understanding that most people, and I just say most people because less than a quarter of the population is actively involved in a fitness program. So most people don't work out. So when you have somebody who most of their friends work out and they are surrounded by people who work out, they start making common gestures and references. Something as simple as, so what do you like to do for your cardio? is very uninviting and unwelcoming to somebody who's first coming in and working out, and they've never done this before. It's a very different emotion, a very different feeling that they get. And when I particularly have newer salespeople, that's one of the topics that I train them on as we're teaching them our tour process and about the emotions that we want these people to feel. I ask them, is there anyone in your family, mom, dad, relative, whoever, who doesn't work out? And I said, imagine yourself or pretend that you were to talk to them as though they do and assume that they do work out, saying, what do you like to do for your cardio? The treadmill, elliptical, bike, and they don't work out. Well, the emotion that most people typically feel is one of either embarrassment or it doesn't make them feel good either way. And most people aren't just going to come out and say to the guy at the gym or the girl at the gym or the person who's in good shape and touring them around, oh, well, I don't, or they don't want to seem silly, and it just makes them feel uncomfortable there. So little things like that along the actual process of onboarding, which starts in the tour, I believe is very crucial to making sure that someone's open to even continuing to listen to you.
Yeah, no, I think you hit it on the head. First impressions last a lifetime. If they don't have that smooth process on the way in, then you're not setting them up for success. So that's great to know that you guys are following that, collecting their interests on their way in, things like that can help you sort of steer them in the right direction, 30 days in when you do that Jumpstart program. So that's great. So it sounds to me like, you're talking about new employee onboarding, you're talking about, sales and all these different things, and you spearhead all the membership and sales directives. That can be a tough job. How do you stay on top of it and find creative ways to continue to increase memberships?
Well, from everything that I've found, early on in my career, it was, what's new today, what new thing can be created, and as I've matured through my time in the industry, I've really found that nothing beats consistency with especially having 13 membership sales departments that I manage, 13 different sales managers that I'm on the phone with daily, that I have to look through their final numbers at night, their percentages, their KPI for them and for their sales staff, all that. I have to have a very strict routine, obviously, for myself. And on top of that, one big thing that has really changed, about 3 months ago now, we decided to really get back, and fully engaged and use ClubOS to a much higher level of the potential that it had, and since then it's allowed me to be able to see things a lot clearer, a lot more visibly, and have much better optics on what it is that we do. So instead of having to look in 3 or 4 different places to be able to make a decision and take action, now I can see it, take action, and go. So that from ClubOS's perspective, to nice little plug there for you, Marty, for ClubOS. But
Sure.
From that perspective, that's been fantastic for me. Particular reports that Kristen, Adam were really great with helping me get set up with to make sure that it automatically emailed to me, checking through my 60, 70 emails that I get between all those at night or in the morning, before everyone gets started to tee off on the day is very important to be able to point me in the right direction with each club, with each person, and I only look forward to even more technology that we'll have with that in the future.
Yeah, that's great. That's great to hear. Obviously juggling a lot of things, and I can imagine it's fast paced and always changing. We had previously talked and you were absolutely killing it from what we understood on the referral side. Can you explain a little bit more about how important referrals are and where they fit into your sales agenda?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And for us, our goal and where they fit into our sales agenda is they, in my opinion, they are the way that we control whether or not we hit our decisions each month. And I say decisions and not goals, because goals are something that you hope to hit. Decisions are something that you make and that you do. And and if we're going to make a decision, then we have to be able to be in control of that. And that outside of marketing, it's August for those of you in the health club industry. It's a fun month. Yeah, it's the middle of August right now. It's beautiful outside, and most people aren't having the August that they would love to have. It feels like January was a long time ago at this point. It feels like March was a long time ago at this point. But even still, being able to have a consistent system to be able to generate leads when advertising isn't kicking in the TIs or telephone inquiries that you're used to getting, or the walk-ins that you're used to getting, or web leads, or any other form of lead generation to the club. The biggest way that I look at it is it's a big funnel, and the more that you put into the top of the funnel, the more can possibly come out. So with the amount of memberships that we're able to sell and the amount of referrals that we're able to convert, it's only more referrals that we're then able to get and come to the clubs. It's a huge priority for us in our clubs. It is our number one, from a volume standpoint, lead source. Obviously, it doesn't convert the best. Nothing's ever going to convert like someone who just up and walks in. And second to that would be people who are, write in that they're interested as a web lead, and people who call in as a TI. But after that, for us, it's our referrals. And we have a little bit of a unique way of looking at our referrals in the club, and like to share some of those. Any questions on any of the stuff I went through so far from you, Marty?
No, that all sounds good. One point I wanted to quickly make there is that it kind of feels like it's easy to forget about referrals. I'm a salesperson too. Like they kind of fall by the wayside because for some reason they don't seem as attractive or as lucrative as a brand new sale. But in reality, they're almost more lucrative. It's much easier when you actually know a friend of theirs is coming to the gym. The cost of acquisition is a lot lower because you're not spending marketing dollars on them. My question would be, how do you make sure that your salespeople specifically that you manage are seeing the value in those referrals?
Well, we do a lot of training to the why is what we call it, and in every one of our trainings, actually in every one of our scripts or our books, or my Bibles as I call them, we have scripts for everything that we do, and not scripts in the old boiler room scripts, or we're flip to this page if they say this, but more along the lines of understanding the intent and what you're trying to accomplish with each person on the phone. And so each one of those has the actual script, and then a few paragraphs, or at least a paragraph of why you're saying what you're saying, and why you're doing what you're doing. And the main thing, the main way to get our salespeople to understand that we need referrals and that we need to push that is because we need to be able to control whether or not we hit our goals. That's their bonuses. They their paychecks, their bonuses are based off of those decisions that they hit, and that's the main the main driving force from that perspective. But then also, we as a company, as Xperience Fitness, we exist to get as many people moving in our communities as we possibly can, and we want to increase that percentage every year. That's our goal, and the only way that we can do that is by reaching out to people who are not interested. So
got it.
The main focus from a referral standpoint is and the main thing to teach, or that we teach our sales team from a philosophical standpoint, is we live in a world where you can get Amazon one-day shipping. You can order something at 10 a.m. and it can be at your door at 3 o'clock. There is nothing that anybody in this world wants that they can afford that they don't have. You may say, oh, well, I want that pair of shoes, but I don't want to spend the $100 on it. Well, that's fine. You want the $100 more than you want to spend on more than you want the shoes. If you want it and you can afford it, or if you have the money for it, then you buy it. And because of that understanding, it's helped us to see how reaching out to referrals, and when you call people, or when you email, text, whatever means of communication that you reach out to these people with, you have to understand that you are calling someone who is not interested, which really excites us, because that's our opportunity to improve the percentage of the population that's involved in a fitness program, as opposed to I'm more than happy to take a TI. I'm more than happy to take a walk-in that's coming over from a different gym. More than happy. And we'll certainly get them signed up. We'll make sure that they love our club. But when we get to actually be on the phone, or we get to talk to somebody who was not interested, that's great. That's a really exciting thing for us, because that's us being able to move that needle.
That's it totally does. It's super important. And I semi cut you off earlier. I didn't mean to, but it sounds like, and I don't want you to give away all the secret sauce here, but
sure, if
you can share with our audience today, what are some of the best tips and tricks that helped you increase your referral rate across the board?
Sure. Well, I mean, it's actually, one aspect is understanding where, when people are most likely to refer friends on their own versus referring friends on an incentive base. I've tried getting referrals in a lot of different ways over my years, and through different contests that we do with current members, through new members, all kinds of different ways. And what I've found is that people who love the gym, people who come out and work out all the time, you don't even have to incentivize them to tell people how great you are. They just do, which is awesome. So we want to take that, we want to capitalize on that. But most people, when they join a gym initially, they're not ready to say, yeah, I'll refer my friend. So that's typically where we focus the majority of our incentive to a member, is when they are referring somebody inside of their first 30 days of being a member. So that's the main tip from a strategic standpoint. But then getting names and phone numbers is one thing, or getting names and email addresses is one thing, and it's we can make it complicated. You can make it have an elaborate script like we do, and have all that down, which I think helps the majority of our member experience advisors, or MEAs as we call them, because they're not, they don't have this great knack for sales. But at this, at the same point, it's as simple as saying, hey, you had a great experience today. We're gonna incentivize you. Who would you like to put down that we can contact? So it's as simple as just having a consistent process of asking a consistent way each and every time. And then from there, it goes into actually converting them into guests and then members of the club. And that's where I've been able to make some really big strides over the last year or so, since our clubs have gotten older, and we've been in the same place, and we get we've a lot of people in our area have been members before, and they get referred down again from new people who join. And it's a way of talking to somebody. We'll have people who we used to have people who would say, hey Marty, your friend Joe just got signed up down here, and he put you on his list to get a free pass. Was that something you might be interested in? And you'll hear a lot of people in our industry say things like that. And at that point, the more I looked at it and the more that I worked with it, the obvious answer is no. Duh, stupid. Right. To be frank, is no, they wouldn't be. You called me. Why? I'm not interested at all. And that's what frustrates most salespeople about calling referrals, is because they typically want to talk to a referral who is calling them, because I don't want to waste my time with calling all your friends who aren't interested. The heck with that. I want to contact all of your friends who aren't interested, because I actually know in turn that they are. People have a misconception about fitness and buying a gym. They're not really buying a gym. They're buying a means to be able to look better, feel better, and have more energy. Just like when you buy a car, you don't really want a car. You just want a convenient means of transportation. Or if you have a really nice car, something that you can show off. But it's not about having the physical car. It's the old adage somebody said one once upon a time that you don't buy a drill to buy a drill, you buy a drill so you can have a hole. And once you understand that most people don't bridge the gap on their own between, especially somebody who's not currently working out, they do not bridge the gap between what their fitness goals are and the gym, and that being accomplished all in one together, or look better, feel better, have more energy, those main key points, and the gym. Once that's bridged for them, then they're going to be able to have a conversation with you. You're going to be able to be interested. They're going to turn interested. But until then, of course, you're going to have the, oh no, I'm not interested in a free pass. Why would you be? I haven't told you anything about it.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. It sounds like, and those are, thank you for the, giving us some of like the tips that you guys and why you've been so successful. It sounds like there's a lot of ways to get referrals, but for you, the one way that's the easiest and has the highest impact is just creating raving fans. The rest will kind of follow suit. So, if you can make that member extremely happy within the first 30 days, your referrals are just going to happen naturally. There are ways to increase it, it sounds like, through asking for additional, but yeah, I would agree. If you create raving fans, referrals are just going to sort of happen for you. That's not that easy to do, but easier said than done, I should say, but still a great answer there.
Sure.
Yeah, so how are you guys, I have a question about, increasing referrals and revenue. I'm sorry, increasing revenue with referrals, I should say. Seems easy, it takes some work. The great part is, though, once you have a process set up, you can get going quickly, get your salespeople up to speed quickly, new hires, all those things. Curious how you guys are tracking your referrals today.
So we use a list that's like a manual list that's filled out by the member. Our MEAs walk them through through that filling that out, and then once the guest is gone, we'll enter those referrals into ClubOS under the some of them in the system say add preferred guest, ours say add referrals under the member's name. Mm-hmm. This way, and this has been super huge with ClubOS, to where that's the only way that we have it set up to where you can actually assign the origin of referral to someone. And then from there, we have 3 different types of referrals, and we will use once those are entered in, we'll go under each person and add the specific marketing source. So we have more origin and marketing source of each referral that's entered in. Most of them are more along our VIP, but we still have our other ones, which has been great. So that way we can track contact rate, conversion percentage, show percentage on on each specific type of referral. So that way we can see where we get our biggest bang for our buck. And one awesome feature that is newer to me, but I think it's great, is you can actually create specific campaigns. So if we were to run just a specific referral promotion, want to call it a particular name, we could house everything underneath that and only have that marketing source in the system for a period of time, and then be able to track just how that performed and actually get an ROI on what we used to promote the event, what we used to, what our giveaway was, all this for the member, and then versus how many people we got back, how long they stayed, monthly dues that were collected, etc. So, we have great optics on everything that we're doing from a marketing standpoint, but especially from a referral standpoint, because that's frankly that's the way that I'm able to get those promotions, is I have to prove that I'm going to make it work.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. And then you guys are having, obviously, we can see it inside the system. We can see your usage and we can see the data, and it's obvious that you're having great success with it. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And I know that we wanted to keep the call here, the webinar today, to 30 minutes, and we're coming up to that now. But I did want to end it with one more question for you, Will. Would be, what would be your one piece of advice to someone starting a referral program that isn't doing one today, and any last parting words you have for the group?
Sure. Whatever you decide to go with from a referral percentage, from a referral standpoint, you need to make sure that whatever you put in place is a win for everyone all around. It's got to be good for the new member. It's got to be good for the people that they refer, and it's got to be good for you as a club. You can't give away everything just for them and make it not worth your while. There can't be nothing in it for the member, and there's got to be something that will be enticing enough to get this person off the couch, off of doing what it is, whatever it is that we're not doing, and into the club from a risk-free standpoint. If you can craft, whatever it is you want to craft around that, and we can answer any questions if you want to get into any specifics. But whatever you want to craft around making it a win-win-win, so that way everybody can profit from that system and from that process is huge. That's where we saw was the keystone of our success, was building it around that. That's our habit, or our core concept when it comes to our referral processes. It's always got to meet the criteria of, is it good for us? Is it good for the member? Is it good for the people that our members are referring? And if it is, then we can consider it. Otherwise, it's not even on the table. Gotcha.
That's great advice. We did get one question, Will. I'll read it off and we'll see who it makes sense to answer it, you or I, probably you. But if you were doing an incentive when the member or the prospect first comes in, what have you seen that works best? Free month or PT session, giveaway items, cash, etc. Will, I guess you can take that one. You kind of answered it earlier a little bit, but I'd love to know, are you guys doing anything like that in terms of giveaways or competitions for the month?
Yeah, we are. But it's a consistent program that we do year round, but it's only for new members, and it's only their first time or their first day when they sign up in the club, or if they sign up online, their tour. That's the one time where they're able to register their referrals. So we have a sense of urgency behind it, and it's good for 30 days from the day that they join. So we have ours to where we give away some free membership time for each person that they get to sign up off of their list specifically inside of those first 30 days.
Got it.
And frankly, the reason why we have it as restricted or as limited as we do is because we all know that people just have new reasons for joining the gym every day, and if someone was put on somebody's list, or if someone was referred 6 months ago and now they came in, who knows at why that person came in now 6 months later, but odds are it wasn't because the member finally got through to them. Odds are that's just this person's time to try out the gym. So we want to make sure that we're incentivizing our members and rewarding them based off of their effort, not just somebody walked in and you get a month for free.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Keeping it tight like that, and you're going to get any number of referrals through the raving fans, but incentivizing that one time makes a lot of sense. Sage advice, Will Saffin. Thank you very much for the time. I also wanted to say thank you for everyone listening in. You'll be sent out the webinar recording tomorrow, so that you can listen through or share with your team or share with any other friendlies in the industry that you think would like to hear some advice on how to create a successful reward program. Thanks again, Will, for being a part of the webinar and sharing your knowledge. We really appreciate your time and expertise.
Thank you, Marty. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course. And anyone on the call or anyone listening to the recording, if they have questions for either myself or Will, there'll be instructions on how to get in touch with us on the webinar recording. Happy to chat anytime. At least I speak for myself, Will. I won't try to bombard you too much, but it's hard to not get people interested when you have great advice like this on referral programs. So thank you for having me the rest of the day, and thank you everyone on the call. Take care.